In 2020, protests across the country called for greater diversity, equity, and inclusion across a number of spaces. Since then, the term DEI has been a source of debate. Now, almost 3 years later, have things gotten better for minorities and women?
Joining us now to discuss is Felicia Joy from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. Good morning.
Good morning.
So did corporate America say as a PR move, we need to just hire some minorities? Is that what happened?
There are some companies perhaps who hired more women and more people of color for performative reasons, but by and large, I think it was a serious awareness that came to light that something needed to be done to focus more on diversity, equity, and inclusion. The data bears that out. In 2020, only about 14% of the Fortune 500 reported on their DEI strategies in their 10K, which is an annual filing, where they are required to report on information that's important for the company's finances. But a year later, over 80% of the Fortune 500 reported on DEI strategies, so a significant increase in companies focusing on it.
So what happened? I mean, we had the pandemic. We had quite a few job losses throughout the tech sector. So what do you think happened, and why it has been disproportionate in terms of looking at DEI positions versus the rest of the industry?
I think things have happened societally that have caused us to pay more attention. For example, unfortunately, the murder of George Floyd. I also think there's better research and data available to companies that DEI is absolutely a strength. Companies perform a lot better when they intentionally create environments where all people feel included.
How are we doing on the executive board side of things?
Well, from an executive perspective, this year we started with great news, especially for women. For the first time in history, more than 10% of Fortune 500 CEOs are women. So we have Roz Brewer at Walgreens, we have Karen Lynch at CBS, we have Thasunda Brown Duckett at TIAA. So that is still not sufficient, only 10%, but still that is historical, and we are making progress.
When you look at chief diversity officers and the numbers, when you look at certain studies, say like, hey, over 70% are still people of white descent. What does that say to you, and how would you like to see that change? Diversity
is about more than just race and ethnicity and about gender. So we want to see a variety of different types of people in those roles, but certainly we want to see people who have traditionally been excluded in those roles as well. So I think it's about awareness and companies being strategic, not being performative, not doing it as a PR move, but doing it because it literally makes society and the business better.
Now that maybe the spotlight isn't as bright as maybe it was during protests a few years ago, are we seeing their attitudes change, or are they continuing to do what they should be doing?
We have recently seen in the data differences in the number of DEI leaders being hired or retained. We know that we're in a recessionary environment, so companies are making different choices, which is unfortunate if that's an area that they go to decrease recruiting or eliminate positions, because that means it wasn't a core part of their strategy. But what we hope to see is that they'll see in the data the difference in their performance and bring those positions back if they have eliminated them, or retain those positions because they see that their business continues to be strong as a result of DEI leadership.
Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
You can find more information at joygrotto.com. Thanks again, Felicia.
Thank you.